Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Next Goal Wins. We play Bournemouth tomorrow in the league. A new team, let's talk about them now. So like I said, we play against Bournemouth. Now Bournemouth are a team that we won't know a lot about this season. I think the teams that we won't know a lot about this season are Bournemouth and Watford. These are the two that we really won't know much about, despite knowing about what they've done last season and about Eddie Howe more than any of the players really, with the exception of like Max Gradle who was here at Leicester, but we really don't know much about Bournemouth. I'm sure if you did a poll now of Leicester fans for who's the captain of Bournemouth, there wouldn't be many right answers of Tommy Elphick. I mean, it's one of those where you just don't know many of the players, despite maybe from watching them a lot this season, in all their games, on Match of the Day at least, you won't know a lot of the players. So let's talk about what they might offer now. Now we know Eddie Howe likes to play a good style of football, we've seen that, but against West Ham where they got their win, it was very much a counter-attacking style of play, the same kind of play Leicester do. I mean, they've got really fast players going forward. They've got Wilson, they've got Gradle, etc, etc. Christian Atsu, who hasn't featured for them yet, but who could, and I think that is their major strength, is kind of the pace they've got on the counter-attack, like us, which is why I think it'll be a good game. That is why I think it'll be a good game, is because there's going to be end-to-end. I think from start to finish it's going to be end-to-end. I'm not sure there's going to be maybe too many massive chances. I know some people are predicting it to be a really high scoring game, but I do think it'll be a game where it'll be end to end. Like I said, Gradle's a player we know a lot about at Leicester. He was with us in League One. He scored that famous goal against MK Dons, that last second equaliser free kick, and really Gradle wasn't used as much as maybe he should have been at Leicester. Maybe we didn't use him kind of how we should. I mean, you saw at Saint Etienne when he went there that he was a 16 goal a man season. We didn't play him in a position where he could score goals. He was very much an out and out winger. Get down one wing, dive down the other. Let's just spread it wide, get it to them, pace down the wing and cross it in. And he doesn't look like that kind of player. He looks like a player who can finish and arrive late in the box to score. And he's done that for Bournemouth so far this season. Obviously, he didn't score against West Ham, but he was crucial in all of their counter-attacks to get Wilson a chance to score. Now Wilson is a player that obviously has made massive acclaim since scoring his hat-trick against West Ham, but for me, I mean, you can't judge a player on one game. Let's see what he's like this weekend against us. I mean, he didn't score the other two games, so Rooney scored last night, for example, and he hadn't scored in 10 before, so you can't say a player's going to score against you just because he scored 3 in the game before. But Wilson did look good. I mean, his first finish was wonderful, that kind of volley at the front post. It was a great finish, and he will be looking for massive supply. I mean, he's the man we've got to stop. Obviously, he's the one who's got 3 out of 4 of their goals this season, with Pugh getting the other one, and we need to stop kind of the ball getting to him on the counter-attack. We need to stop Gradle, him running behind us and causing us threats. I do think, however, they are vulnerable at the back. Like I said, their defence is unknown. I mean, we've got Charlie Daniels, Tommy Elphick, people like that, who really we could get in behind. It's the same Championship defence as they had last season, so we should be targeting that and thinking people like Mahrez, Vardy, Okazaki, we can get in behind them, and if Inler does play, or if Kante does play, picking those passes, then that's an area we really have to target. I would say, yeah, Mahrez against Charlie Daniels on that right hand side, or the left hand side if you're Bournemouth, is a position we can really exploit. I do think we're going to play well to them tomorrow or day after, whenever this video goes, but I feel like we're going to play well. I feel like we're going to give Bournemouth a really good run for their money. Bournemouth, obviously, this is their first home game after a win. They're going to be seeing it as a massive opportunity, but this is, for us, a game we have to win. Away against a team like Bournemouth's a game, as away games go, but we have to look to be winning. Bournemouth aren't a team who are going to cause us lots of problems passing the ball around. Like I said, they're going to try and get us on counter-attack, and in a way, we probably will do the same, but I think we will keep possession a lot more in this game than we have seen from us in other games. Especially if Inler does play in that middle of the park, he's going to be able to keep the ball ticking over like he did at Bury on Tuesday night, and that is something I think we want to see. But Ranieri's really in catch-22 with this decision. Does he stick with what's working and what's winning games of Drinkwater and King, and then some fans will be saying, oh, what if Inler had played if we lose, or why didn't Inler and Kante play? Or does he change it and put Inler and Kante in and take the 2 out who have been winning, and then if we lose, everyone will say, oh God, well why did he change what was winning? Classic Tinkerman. So I don't think he's ever going to make anyone happy. Obviously he could change it, Inler and Kante come in and we win and everyone says what a decision, or he leaves it as it is and we win and everyone says what a decision. But I think eventually that Drinkwater or King, one of them's going to have to drop out for Inler or Kante. Inler I think will be the first choice, but I think one of them has to drop out eventually, just really because he's so much quality in Inler. You can't keep keeping someone on the bench like that. I know if we keep winning games, it's a ridiculous thing for me to say, but that is my opinion, is we have to get in on the pitch eventually. My prediction for the game is going to be a 2-1 City win. I didn't go for a win in the last few games, but I think we're going to beat Bournemouth. I think 2-1 away, and I hope it's that result. 2-1, I only say that because I think they will score. I know Ranieri wants a clean sheet, but I think they'll score on the counter. But I do think we'll control the game and get 2 goals, which are much needed. I think the goals will come from one of Vardy or Okazaki up front. I think they'll get the goals for us this season, really the majority. But I think especially this game, with their pacing behind, I think they'll cause so many problems to that Bournemouth defence, which really isn't that fast. I mean, both their centre-halves aren't very fast. They are quite slow, so we can really expose that with our pace up front. For me, what would I do with my team, then? I would play Inler. I'm sorry to Danny Drinkwater, but I would drop Drinkwater. I know King maybe drop, but it's kind of, who do you drop out of those two? I think King offers more going forward, though. He's a bit pacier. Obviously, Drinkwater's been amazing this season so far, so it would be really cruel to leave him out. But I think Inler just has to get a place in the starting lineup. So that's the only change I'd make from the teams that have been winning. And Kante obviously coming off the bench again in the last 20-25 minutes. But Ranieri seems like to make late substitutions, so I don't think we'll see Kante before the 75th minute at the earliest. Yeah, I think stay with the winning team and just change Inler, just because he looked class when he came on at Bury, or started at Bury, I should say. And I feel like in a game like this, that one player who's got more class than all their team would really make the difference. So I spoke to a Bournemouth fan channel. Here's what they had to say. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined today on this segment of the show by the Bournemouth fan. What we're going to talk about is just Bournemouth in general and what he thinks about this weekend's game. First question, Ben, how are you happy with your start? Are you happy? What are your feelings about your start to the season?
Yeah, we're quite happy. We won at the weekend against West Ham. It's our first win. Obviously important to get that under our belt. The previous 2 games, we lost to Aston Villa and Liverpool. Villa, I think we're a bit overruled by the occasion. We didn't play at our best and they kind of did a job on us. Liverpool, most people probably saw that. We should have got something out of that game. We were done by the linesman. Everybody got an education in the new offside rule that night. Everybody knows that rule now. I didn't really know it before. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything out of the game. That it was the price of an education. So yeah, overall, not bad. We won in the League Cup the other night. I mean, we played Hartlepool. We'd expect to win that game now, but for us, it wasn't that long ago when we were on level pegging with teams like Hartlepool. So yeah, lots of changes. We've grown a lot, but so far so good. We're looking forward to the weekend's game.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, after the start of the season, I was one of those people. I'm sceptical of Bournemouth this season. Will they, won't they? Who really knows? I think that's what's exciting for a lot of fans, really, is obviously a lot of people like Bournemouth this season coming up. I think it is exciting for us not really knowing. But what was it like that West Ham game, then? Obviously, Wilson now being talked about as a great player, and a lot of your players like Gradle, who we used to have at Leicester, being talked about as a great player. But do you think that you will push on? I mean, what realistically is your target for this season? Just staying up? I mean, where do you think you'll finish, and what's realistic?
Well, our target is definitely to stay up.
Yeah.
And the way that the club have approached this season demonstrates that is the aim, because we haven't done anything to redevelop the stadium, and we're sort of thinking, well, we'll develop the squad, we won't develop the stadium, and then we can stay up another season. There's much more money coming next year, as you know.
Yeah.
That would boost the coffers for stadium development and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where do I think we'll finish? It's hard to say. I mean, the shackles came off against West Ham. We were a bit, like I said, against Aston Villa, nervy. We didn't really get going. We could have got something out of the game, but I wasn't surprised we lost it. Liverpool, we played better, but we didn't see the best of people like Wilson, Gradle in that game. West Ham was a completely different game. I mean, they did make, and I'm sure you've seen it, some horrendous defensive errors.
Awful. I mean, Cresswell, I'm not sure what he was doing.
Jenkinson, it was when Jenkinson got sent off, I think it must have come as a relief to him, because it was going so badly.
It really was. It really was.
But hopefully that will be the beginning of a spell of good form from our point of view. Obviously not yours on Saturday. And we can see more of the free-flowing football we saw last season. I think we're all wondering, is that going to be possible to achieve in this division? I mean, it's fine if we score 4 every week and the other team score 3, but that's a pretty risky strategy. We don't have a totally cavalier attitude despite that result last Saturday. At best, I'd say mid-table, but
Yeah.
I think every Bournemouth fan at the moment would just take 17th place on goal difference.
Yeah, I think it's almost like us last season coming up. I mean, you just want to finish 17th on goal difference. That is the aim. But interesting you said about the stadium and not developing it. Leads me on nicely to my next question. Now you've got Maxim Denham, obviously, massively rich owner for Bournemouth. We've got our own owners in the ties who've invested massive money into the club, and we're really happy with them. Are you happy with Denham, one, as an owner? And secondly, how important do you think the crowd will be for you this season, despite the fact that you only hold 12,500 people?
Deming, everybody's happy with him.
Yeah.
When he came to the club, there was an air of suspicion. I think basically just because he was described as a Russian businessman, and that, for some reason, I mean, it's slightly xenophobic. It sets alarm bells ringing. But everything he's done, or appears to have done, has been for the good of the club. He's never spoken in public, which I think is a shame. I would have liked it if he'd have at least come out once when he first came to the club and reassured everybody. But the message that comes out of the club from the chairman, Jeff Mostyn, and the manager, Eddie Howe, and anybody else who ever talks about him is all very, very positive.
Yeah.
He hasn't ploughed huge amounts of money into the club, but he's stabilised the finances and has given a bit of money, obviously, which has helped us climb the leagues. We were probably mid-table in terms of spending in the Championship last year, but we had the extra factor of what the manager could get out of the players.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got other monies coming in now from all the Premier League things. So yeah, I mean he's a good chairman and owner, and he stays in the background, unlike our chairman who seems to take any opportunity to appear in public. But I'm hoping that will die down once the kind of Bournemouth are new to the Premier League thing dies down. What was the other part of your question?
The home crowd this season, even though it's a small stand, and I mean a lot of Leicester fans complaining because we haven't got much allocation, but do you think that in a way will help your home fans even be more supportive to your team? Do you think that will be a massive factor for you this season at home for?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know if you've been to Dean Court. It's a newish stadium, but it is very small. There's 4 stands. The corners aren't filled in, and the atmosphere can be really good at times. And we've had some good times recently, and it's been great, and that has helped the players. And if we can build that again and start to put points on the board at home, then obviously that'll be a big benefit. In terms of the away allocation, I think the teams that travel to Dean Court only get something like 1,100-1,200 tickets.
Yeah, it's about that,
which isn't much.
No.
And that goes back to what I was saying about the ground expansion. One of the reasons they say they've been reluctant to expand the ground is that we then have to give up the end behind the goal to away fans. The capacity would be bigger, and the manager doesn't want that. He wants home fans behind both goals.
No.
But I mean, sooner or later, I guess if we continue to have success, we're going to have to either rebuild parts of the ground or move. I don't really want us to move, but it could happen. I mean, you moved yourselves a few years ago. But yeah, I mean, it's all about, obviously, with any club, especially us at the moment, the home crowd getting behind the team. Everybody's really behind the team at the moment. It'd be nice to put some points on the board at home on Saturday and take it from there.
No, it wouldn't. You don't want to put any points up this week. Give it another week, and then you can put up points at home next week. Anyway, Ben, next question. As a lot of Leicester fans who don't really know a lot about Bournemouth, I mean, talked about massively getting up and the points total and stuff, but I said in my video earlier that I'm sure if you did a poll in the Premier League of who's the Bournemouth captain, there are not many people who get it right. So I'm going to ask you, who's your best player in this current squad? And then secondly, who's your most underrated / player people might not have heard of in your squad?
Best player is there's quite a few contenders. There's a guy out injured at the moment, Republic of Ireland international Harry Arter, who was absolutely outstanding last season, but I don't know if we'll see him on Saturday. Wilson obviously sticks out. I mean, he came to everyone's attention at the weekend. Matt Ritchie is a right winger, Scotland international, very talented, weighs in with the share of goals as well. I mean, there's quite a few that I could speak about. Underrated, well, perhaps not in Bournemouth, but certainly beyond. We've got a right back called Simon Francis who has played absolutely out of his skin since he's come to Dean Court. Brilliant performances. He must have been the best defender in the Championship last season. He's brilliant going forward. He played for Charlton before,
Mm.
And I know a Charlton fan, and he told me that he was considered by Charlton fans to be one of the worst players that had ever worn a shirt. And he must be a different. It must be a different person, because I mean, Eddie has got the best out of him, and he's been fantastic. But like I said, I mean, I could just list off the entire team.
Yeah.
Most of them, most people won't have heard of,
Yeah.
and they've all just done absolutely brilliantly. I mean, Mark Pugh scored that goal, the other goal for us at the weekend.
He's a great finisher. Yeah.
Underrated as well, and he's come up through all the divisions, and he's a fantastic player, and always seems to be able to make the step up. So I think we've got a strong squad, even though we won't be challenging in the upper half of the table. I don't think.
Yeah.
I certainly think that we can compete, and like I said, I mean, I would settle for 17th on goal difference, but you never know.
Yes. No. So this weekend, then, you come up against the best team in the league, second in the table, top 4 contenders, Leicester City. Champions League on the horizon. What are you looking forward to? What are you nervous about? What player are you looking forward to seeing? And who do you think will be a massive threat to Bournemouth on Saturday?
I'm looking forward to seeing Schmeichel. When he was at Notts County, he came down here with them, and there was a fracas in the tunnel and there was pictures in the local paper the next day of the dressing room door. The away dressing room door was broken, and it was suggested that he was the culprit. So we look forward to welcoming him back, although he has been back since.
Yeah.
And of course, Mahrez has got off to a flying start, and he's just about keeping Callum Wilson off the top of the scoring part. He seems to score in every game. So I mean, he's the one we're going to be watching out for. I certainly will be. So he must be absolutely delighted with the way he's been playing.
I mean, last season, he was almost underrated. I mean, he was great for us last season. People didn't seem to notice it. And I think this season, obviously, his goals have put him really in the public eye. But on the ball, he's almost like Messi for Barcelona. Obviously, he's not as good, but you just want the ball to get to him so he can do something with it. It's just exciting when he gets the ball. And like you just said, I think for us, it's great to have someone who's with such talent. Who I remember when he joined, none of us had heard of him. People saying, "God, who's this? Is this Riyad Mahrez that we're signing from the second division in France?" And I guess it's a stroke of luck and a stroke of genius from the scouts, really, to have got him there. But for you, Ben, not massive transfer money, like you said, spent, despite the big money tag that's around you. We had that when we were in the Championship. We didn't actually spend much money on that Championship winning side, but still got the big money bucks tag. But do you want to spend more then in these last few days of the transfer window, or are you happy with this squad?
I wouldn't mind if we spent a bit more. Like all clubs, we're being linked with players left, right, and centre. There's been a flurry today, as there has been throughout the transfer window, of excitement regarding Charlie Austin.
Yeah.
He's from this area. There was a picture recently that he put on Twitter. He was either at his house or at his father's house, but I mean, his dad's a Bournemouth supporter, and you could see a Bournemouth shirt on the chair in the background. So everyone started going a bit
mental,
crazy, saying, that's definitely going to happen, but it's impossible to say. We're being linked, with a few other forwards. Murray at Crystal Palace. We're also being linked with midfielder De Guzman, who was at Swansea. We could do with strengthening. I mean, all teams could do with strengthening up front. We definitely could do with strengthening in central midfield. Without Harry Arter, who I mentioned earlier, we've looked a bit light in midfield. So, but in the transfer window in January, everybody was willing Eddie Howe to spend and go for it, as it were. He didn't spend any money. He didn't bring anybody in. There was a slight air of despondency after that, and he said, "I've got the squad I need, and we're going to do it." And he was as good as his word. Yeah.
And I think that is the main thing, like you said. You don't want to just spend just because you feel like you have to spend now in the Premiership. That's the main thing. If Howe's happy with his squad, then he's happy. This little bit then now is the segment called Head and Heart. I want you to make a prediction with your head and a prediction with your heart.
Okay.
So, what's your prediction, Ben, for the weekend? Prediction with your head, prediction with your heart.
I'm a bit superstitious about making predictions. With my head, draw. With my heart, 2-1 win.
So, my head, 2-1 win. My heart, 2-1 win. I think I'm just confident at the moment, as I should be, I guess.
Yeah, that was me talking about the Bournemouth fan channel about the game. Very interesting things he had to say. Anyway, please leave your comments below telling me what you think will happen in the game. Please like the video and subscribe to me. I'll see you in the next one.